Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Supercoach Challenges, and we're now following off at the back of the last video. So this is probably what I wanted to kind of talk about today, was looking at the buy structure, because I think if you can get in before the game starts at 1:15 and kind of have a look at your team, you might be able to fix up a few issues that are going on with your team and get it ready for the buys. Because look, the buys are going to be hard, and this is probably going to make or break your season. Like, honestly, we know the rankings are very, very close from like 30 to even 5,000K. Like, the scoring differentials are very, very low. It's going to be important that you are getting as many players on the field that are quality and are going to score points. And something I kind of realized with this team is very well positioned. Somehow it's become very well positioned to do well through the buys. So it's really about looking at your buys and figuring out what you need, where you need players, where you're missing them. Because with the rookie carnage, we have lost a lot of players. You're gonna want to watch this video through, because it's going to be very interesting to kind of watch and see how this team's going to work with it anyway. So we got around 12, right? So what I can see is, counting through the players, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I've got 18 players, because I don't see Baker missing either. So I've got 18 before the round starts. And looking at this, Chincotta could play, Chester could play, so that's like 20. Giroud could play if there's injuries, 21, and Davey could play, so 20. I could possibly have 22 players, and that's before I make any trades. So the way I'm looking at like planning this out is probably a little bit different to other teams, but it's kind of what I want to do to get a boost. So I'm going to have 3 trades, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Clark, Wangani, Milera, and I'm going to get them up to premiums. That's going to bring me into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to have 20 players at least scoring. And that means my 2 lowest players are going to be missed in my scoring. And if we look at this, it's actually not too bad on that front. Now, potentially I could go Ashcroft out. I'm just not 100% sure on that one, because I'm not really sure I want to get rid of Ashcroft, because I think he could score quite well. But it's all going to depend on this week's score, because if he scores badly, then like he's going to go up money, because his break even's 9. So if he scores like a 30, it doesn't matter much. But that's going to make his break even massive next week. And I think it's just going to be look at trade him off, because you're going to have 1, 2, 3, and I can make them 3 premiums. So then I'm going to have 3 premiums on field, and going to be able to work off that. Now, the plan with bringing the premiums in, right? So normally you wouldn't bring in premiums. And look, this might be something that I also I think Clark's definitely gone. Magdalene, Malera, and Ashcroft, it's going to be choosing between, because I'm also going to look at probably downgrading and getting Wardlaw in, which is actually going to add a player no matter what. So, we could have 21 players playing. And they're all going to be round 14 players, because the way I want to stagger it is that, this round I'm aiming to get the round 14 players in, because they're going to play the most games before round 14. So it's going to be round 14 premiums only coming in. And then if we look at round 13, this is another easy one, because we're only going to miss Stewart, Humphrey, Radigalia. Now, I'll probably trade Radigalia up to someone, maybe a Wits, because it's going to be a trade for trade on the buy, which means that I'm not going to lose much there. Or it could be Marshall, because he's not going to play a buy. So like the next strategy will be, it's probably going to be one player. It's going to be Radigalia to a round 12 player, which will be, probably Marshall, because then we get 3 games out of him. Now, if we go, so say we do that, right? So we've got, this guy's going to play, so we don't need to worry about him, but we're going to have 1, 2, 3 spots, or 1, 2 at least, and then maybe a downgrade here to another round 14 player. So that's going to be 3 spots we're going to lose. But they're going to play in round 14. So those 3. So these 2 will definitely still be playing, and whoever's on the bench. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then we'll have 17 with Baker and 18 with Wardlaw. So we're going to have 18 before this round starts. And then I'll have 2 rounds to choose from. So I can choose from round 12 and round 13 players. And this was where I'll probably go Day, Warpool will be gone. I mean, maybe not Day, sorry. Warpool, Chandler, and let's say possibly Mitchell. They'll be gone. And I'll be bringing in 3 guys from round 12. So then that'd be 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19. Oh, wait. Sorry. I counted Day. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. We'll say Mitchell's the 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Warple's going to be traded 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18 on field with another one to be traded. Maybe Baker will make it 19. That's probably 19 plays here. So that's looking good. And the last buy is going to be round 15, which we're actually not too bad for. So, and we're going to only have 3 extra players from this round. So these 2 will miss. And whoever was on the bench. So, which could be where Davies' position is, for example, could be Wardlaw, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then 14, so I'm going to trade Baker. This will miss. So 14 will be the potential there, right? So what we're going to do is hopefully we're going to be able to trade. Oh, yeah, sorry. Ryan's going to go. Potentially Sheezel will go. So that's going to bring us up to maybe 17. And then we've got a boost so we can trade another, and maybe Chincotta, if he's not playing by then, will go as well. So, yeah, the last round is going to be the hard round because we're going to have 6. But those 2 are going to be round 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Maybe 14, maybe 15. Well, 14. Then it's going to be 15, 16, 17 potentially, because I think a lot of people might flip Sheezel at this point. And then it's just going to be trying to get 1 extra player in, which could easily be just like a Drury to someone. Like we've got options here of who we can trade. Even Roberts could go. I could probably just make Roberts the guy I make to Wardlaw next week, just because there is every chance Davey comes back in, whereas a Roberts probably doesn't. And that means we're going to have probably 20 through here. We're going to have, everyone will have a full team here, so that's not a problem. But then, probably 19 to 20 here, and then 18 at least here, which is good. And that's what we got to be thinking about. And this is why we can't go on bubble players. Players not on the bubble. You need to be at least making sure if you're bringing in rookies that they're on the bubble. Because if you bring in a forward this week and he doesn't play, he's got no money. So you're going to be sideways into another rookie and he's got no job security. And you're really just getting nothing out of that player. Like absolutely nothing. And this is why probably over the next few weeks, job security is probably going to be a higher thing to think about than potentially, job security is going to be higher than potentially bringing in a guy who's got scoring potential, because you want points on field. And yeah, scoring potential is great. So like a Chincotta is probably a better scorer than maybe a guy like even maybe Tyler Young, if he can continue. Like let's make that as a comparison. But Tyler Young probably now is better job security than Chincotta because he's in the team when Richmond have a lot of players back anyway. Like, was there anyone injured when we went on this team lineup? No. Uh oh, Loston is injured actually. I don't know how long that is though. He's probably back after the bye. So maybe Tyler Young isn't the best example. But, if we're looking at players that probably going to play, like that's why Humphrey is a good choice and why I'm kind of looking at bringing him in this team because I think his job security is set, especially with Tuke out. His scoring, the plus with him is his scoring potential is good, but he could drop off a little bit. Maybe Atkins would be nice to have in this team. Like, who have we brought in? Weddle. I think Weddle's fine. Atkins probably would be a little bit better, but I think like this is the same thing where Weddle's probably not going to miss games either unless he gets injured. The problem's going to be is right, but this is going to be a problem for every team is if injuries here. If we lose a Weddle, if we lose a Humphrey, a lot of teams are going to be affected by that, but everyone's going to be affected by it, so it's not that big a deal. But really, you've got to be looking at, actually, I could go Horn Francis out as well. That could be something. I was looking to hold him, but if the buyers force me to, I'll trade him. But yeah, this is like one of those things where it's going to be interesting moving through and see how the weeks are going to develop and the game's going to develop, and how the teams shape up. Because if you can't get the players on the field, you're going to have really struggle, and you're going to probably fall behind the pack. And it's not going to take long to go from say 10,000 to 30,000 because I think I scored 2,500 last week, and that put me up 10,000 spots. So, and that wasn't a high score. Like I think at 27, 28, 27, you were very happy, and the top scorer scored 2,900. So, that the difference between the top scorer and me was 400 points, and I still went up 10,000 spots. So that shows you how close it is all together and how much these buys are going to be important and how much getting right these buys is going to be. And maybe that is where I try and sneak a Witsy in. And who else is playing? Maybe that is where I try and sneak a few players in that are going to be from Gold Coast or Geelong, but I don't really like anyone outside of Stewart and Wiz. Like there's not much else that you want from their teams. Sorry about that. So that's what you need to keep in mind. Looking down here, we look at the guys that are like 300k-ish. So less than 3 matches. We don't have much here. Now, Lewis Melican scored an 87. That could be a really interesting in because he has the bye next week. And same with Samuel Wicks, but Samuel Wicks is a little bit more expensive. But this Melican trade in could be very nice. Very nice downgrade coming up. Problem is they've got the bye next week now, which means that we're not actually going to be able to get him on the bubble the week after. You probably have to wait to round 4. Which is fine actually, because round 13 is an issue. So round 14, he could be really, really good for us to get in. So that is going to be an interesting downgrade in the future just after playing his first game. But yeah, otherwise, not much here, is there? Kieran Briggs could be interesting, but has that bad bye. Otherwise, who's selected? Selected to play. That's better. Yeah, like looking at this, there is not much here. Oh yeah, there's nothing here. There's that Mullen. We can hope he plays 3 games, and we'll be able to see that. So like, this is definitely a good week to have him in because he'll play next week, and if he plays next week, then they get the bye, and then we can get him in as well. So I think those are 2 on your list at the moment, especially after Melican's 87 is the Mullen and Melican trade downs. But otherwise, like Lazaro, the 3, what he scored last, is it? No. What did he score? Yeah, he did score a 3. So Yeah, he's no good. Wardlaw, 85, nice, but injury concerns. Ford, 102, nice. Spicer actually is interesting on, but his average is crap. Even with that 50, his average before was what? I mean, his break even is -2, but I feel like we can wait a week on this. He had a 73 and a 23. Oh, so his average is 50. But he's only going to go up, what, for 14.5 with a 30. So I still think, like, if you really want to trade someone, you could next week, but you're probably just going to go forward or Wardlaw. Otherwise, yeah, it's really bare with these guys who are selected to play and have less than 3 games. So that is why you really can't go early. You've really got to try and build money somewhere else, and that means if that means trading Clary down to like a 300k player, because like if you trade him down to like Hobbs, for example, or a Humphrey, and you have that gives you what 400 or near on 300k, near on 400k, right? And if you can use that money to then upgrade two of your other rookies, like Ashcroft, 200k brings in 600, which is plenty to upgrade. Warpool if you're carrying him, or Horn Francis if you're carrying them, like they can both go up as well. That's a lot of good, like good easy upgrade that you can do with that money. Because a lot of players are only priced at, like, a lot of decent scoring players like Jack Steele, Sicily, Lockie Neal, they're all priced at the 560 or lower mark at the moment. So, especially if you had a boost, if you're going down to Clary to Humphrey and then going up like an Ashcroft, and like if you're holding Chandler, 200k makes him 558. Like you've probably got two premiums for that one trade down. The only problem is obviously you got to think about how you're going to get him back in, but I still think like that's probably worth it. So and this is probably the last week, like probably next week for your normal teams. Like mine's a little bit, this challenge team's a little bit different, but you're not going to be training in premiums because you're going to lose a game out of them. So yeah, what you want to be doing is fixing up anything on the bench that kind of needs to go, and then working from there. So working from there to fix up the rest of your team for the buys and be set to score well. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Yeah, obviously it's a bit of a shorter, quick one than what I would normally go on about. But yeah, it's just kind of about talking about the buyers, how they kind of work, if you're back-ended anyway, want to be in round 15 because it's the easiest one to work around with 3 trades in each of these rounds, possibly. Yeah, and what the strategy is going to be, at least for this team, because this is probably where we're going to get most of our points back. I'm not going to lie, and yeah, kind of where we need them as well. So anyway, good luck for the buyers, good luck for the rest of the round, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.